Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Custom. So today I'm sharing with you a Silver Banshee Custom statue made from the Sideshow Catwoman premium format. Have a little get-together once in a while with a couple friends in the hobby. We like to get together, talk shop, shoot ideas, talk about everything, just collectibles, storylines, characters. And when the guys get together and stuff, I like to ask them, I got this broken statue, or I got this cheap statue, what's a good idea for a character? And they shoot out ideas, what's hot now, what people like, what's a character that would look really cool that's never been done before in this scale. And one of the ideas was Silver Banshee, along with a couple other ideas. But I thought, let me look into Silver Banshee some more, and I'm like, you know what, this would be a really cool character. It's a really awesome design, and let's run with it. So I also did a video a while back to check out where I did her flame things on her outfit. I know the technical term, the flamey things, I don't care, that's what I'm saying. I got a friend who's giving me crap about that, but anyway, that's check out that video. So, gonna kind of break it all down what I did and everything. Let's give a little quick turn. But the idea was that she fought Superman or Supergirl, and she's got the ripped up cape. The hair is all sculpted from scratch. I'll go over all that. The idea of the base is she's in the middle of the street. She's either fighting Superman or Supergirl, and there was heat vision with all the hitting the street and it cracked up. So we're going to get in closer to that as well. But we'll pretty much start with the face area, work our way down, and we'll get a little bit closer. So, alright, we're hitting wires there. Alright, we got this. Alright. So, she has a collar, and it might be hard to see, but there is a collar there. And what it is I guess this is kind of like the outfit, and then it goes up to the black skin, which would be paint. So over in the black area, it's flat black, and then the outfit is got a kind of a hint of a pearlized black mixed with some gloss coat of to give it a little bit of a sheen, because I wanted her kind of like that, kind of a silky latex shiny outfit, which was the one drawing I was following, which in the video I linked, trying to capture that. So, for her, basically, once she was all broken down, I did the outfit, I did the flame things, and then I started working out the collar. Once I got the collar down, I worked out the ears, and what I did is these earrings are actually nails. And what I did is I cut the nail, and at the end of the nail, I sculpted, the earrings, and then I glued them in. So that worked out pretty cool. Now, in the video, as I showed you, if you check that out, these hands are magnetized with rods. The cape is glued in. I had to, about here is where the original hand is kind of cut off with a magnet, so I had to take the magnets out, attach it, resculpt this area, then cut it up here, and then add a rod with a magnet, so that breaks down easier. Then for the hair, once the head's on the body and I took off the ears and everything, I sculpted the hair from scratch. Now, this hair, I used a smooth-on sculpt stuff that's actually been discontinued, and a friend of mine gave me that stuff, and I've just kind of been using it up. So what I did is I sculpted a whole armature of the hair. And then once I got the hair to because with this character, you got to have that long flowing hair coming down to her legs. You can't cheese it out and have the hair only come up here, from all the pictures I saw. So I wanted to make sure the hair is, flowing. And what I did is once I got the armature, I just kept building up the hair. So I sculpted a little bit down here, I sculpted it over here, and I kept working my way up till I got up top. And then what I did is I sculpted the piece under the ear going over the shoulder. I sculpted this piece here, and then what I did is I sculpted more coming down. I gave flowing. The only two pieces of hair I've used from a different statue was this piece over here and this piece here. It's from one of my broken statues. What I did is I glued it on, and then I just seamed up, and I added more strands and stuff. And then once I got the hair where I wanted to, I built it out more. So it was kind of like, if you saw it in the beginning, it was kind of like straight this to ear and straight this here. And then what I did is the next day I would build out a little bit more, and then I would build out a little bit more. So I got that flow of that kind of old style she had in the one picture I was following. And then at the end I added a couple little strands of some other statues that I had that, like you get these statues of characters from Sideshow where they have these pieces, really plasticky, bendable pieces. So I cut the tips off and added it there. So I thought that would be kind of a nice little touch for her. And came out pretty cool. A lot of work on the hair and very heavy now, but what I wanted to make sure too was when I sculpted it, that her center of gravity is straight. It's not like kind of going forward. It's not going backwards. It's pretty much just working everything, you know, where it should be. And yeah, that's pretty much what I did with all that. And we'll kind of go over the base a little bit. So as you can see, it's got kind of like, you see the dirt with kind of like the dirt in the middle is a little bit heated up with some red. And then the street, you know, pieces are broken. So what I did was I rolled out Aves or Magic Silver, I forgot what I did, whatever I had extra at night. And then what I did is I broke up the pieces, and then I sculpted, I built up, and I sculpted the line going here, I sculpted the line going there, and then after that I started adding on all these blocks of pieces. And then what I did is at the end I painted it all up, and I made it look like Streets was hit with heat vision. So, you know, just giving a little bit of a different take, just trying to experiment a little bit more and having fun with it. Something like this could probably work for like a mass-produced statue, but not the way I did it, because, you know, you can't, you know, get under to make a mold of all the way I glued the pieces on, because, you know, you can probably pry them off if you try really hard, but it worked out pretty cool. So, and then, you know, I pretty much put in torn cape. The cape symbol was printed out by Metajohn in Canada, who does t-shirts and stuff for me, and I asked him to do a bunch of symbols. And what I did is I ironed it on. I ironed it on the best I could, but some of it just wouldn't stick, so I actually used some glue. But I kind of like that anyway, because it's kind of a torn cape, so it doesn't have to be pretty. It could be a little bit messed up, and it worked out pretty cool. So as far as the paint work goes, her face is just a Garage Kits white I put on, and then after that I painted on her skull face and the lines on her face. I didn't want to score it all, because I figured, you know, even though it's a Catwoman face, once it's painted like this, it's going to look like a totally different face, which is kind of cool. Her eyes are just a, you know, chrome silver, because I figured if you do the yellow, it kind of would look a little weird, because I knew a couple of the drawings had yellow eyes. Some of them had bright white. I thought the silver would look kind of cool. It looks a little bit more sinister when you look at her. That there is an eye there, but it's kind of hidden with the black. And that's really what I wanted to run with. The black is, you know, a flat black with a hint of pearlized. Well, no, I think gunmetal black. So it's kind of like a little pearl to it. The white on her outfit is all just pure white with some slight, not much, but slight Payne's gray shading. And I just didn't want to go too crazy with it, but just to give a little bit of a difference. And then as for the hair's painted up in white, but it's got some Payne's gray shading, and then I added pearlized white at the end to give it a little bit of a silkiness, because I wanted everything to kind of be different. I didn't really want to make sure, you know, I didn't want to have flat white on the outfit, flat white on the face, and flat white on the hair. I wanted to make all the whites different. So if you look real close in person, as you can see from right here, you got a nice glossy white, you got a pearlized hair, and then you got a nice flat white, but that's really smooth. So I kind of ran with that. And then, of course, you know, we always got to give you guys the booty shot. I made sure that, you know, I made sure when I did the sculpt you could see the booty, especially with the hair, because that's kind of the whole idea of this statue, with her holding the cape, as you can see from backwards. And because, you know, I think this is kind of like one of the better poses, but, you know, even a little bit like here, you're still getting that, you know, sexiness of her, but she's fighting Superman or Supergirl. But even the front of her is still awesome. And just a really cool character. And I guess, you know, it's just a character that you might not ever see in any scale. I think after working on her, she would be a really cool character if DC would do like the Women of DC universe. Throw her into the mix a little bit. I think she would be pretty cool. The base is sculpted from scratch. Well, it's kind of like two different bases mixed together. This flat part of the base was from an older base someone gave me, and then I used a generic base underneath. I attached them, and then what I did is I tried to smooth them out. I didn't want to focus too much on it because it's a very heavy base, but you have to have a heavy base for such a heavy statue, and I didn't want to make it too big, and I didn't want to make it complex. So, that is pretty much Silver Banshee. Hopefully you guys like the way she came out. It was a lot of fun. Last couple minutes of this, we'll kind of get a little bit closer into some areas. Added some wrinkles to the crotch area, and then I sculpted that over there as well. I did add some wrinkles underneath the butt area too, which you could kind of see. So I wanted to add a little bit wrinkles here and there, not much, but you know, just run with it. I did add wrinkles underneath the boots, at least in the back of the boots. Because if you know the Catwoman statue, her boots come up to about here. So I had to Dremel all that down, rebuild the legs, and then, because she has these tight boots, and I added wrinkles in the knee areas too a little bit, as you can see. And, there you go. That is Silver Banshee Custom statue. Hopefully you guys like it. Really cool character. You guys might know more about her than me, but, she's a lot of fun to work on. So, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with more videos.